Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Is Gervonta Davis putting duck sauce on the fried rice? That's the question. Is he putting duck sauce on the fried rice? Now, I've been reading through a lot of comments, and I'm an open-minded person. I personally think Gervonta Davis beats everybody. Okay, that's me. 135, 140. I think Gervonta Davis has the speed, athleticism, has the skill set, has the power to no matter what fight he gets in, even if he's down on the scorecards, once he makes a decision to power up, the fight ends. Okay? Simple. But I do understand, and I can see where people are coming from where they say, hey, this man's at 135 pounds. He seems to be okay with how the fans are saying. These aren't my words. They say fighting nobodies. So I had to stop and ask myself, who's a nobody that he fought? Okay, he fought Hector Garcia. They won't give him credit for that fight. Cherry pick. Hector Garcia came up from 130 pounds. He's a small guy. I'm like, well, Tank's pretty small too, isn't he? So, I mean, the playing field doesn't seem that uneven, in my opinion. But fans say, no, he's not a true 135-pounder. Tank has gone on record and said, I'm a 135-pounder. So they say he should fight a 135-pounder. Okay. Then you think about Tank Davis. He fought Pitbull Cruz. They're like, nope, Pitbull Cruz was too small. But Pitbull Cruz is a 135-pounder. Pitbull Cruz is a bum. He can't fight. So what's your definition of a non-bum is my question. Because when it comes to boxing, you've got the brawler, you've got the boxer, you got the boxer-puncher, okay? There's so many different categories for boxing styles. Not everyone's going to fight the same. And I'm going to tell you what, that damn fighting style of Aesop Pitbull Cruz, pretty damn effective. 25 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw. And a lot of people feel that those 2 losses, could have gone either way, especially that Tank fight, although they say Tank was fighting with 1 hand. You talking about Rolly Romero. People out here calling Rolly a bum, and Rolly got a title. Now, I understand what you're saying. I do think the secret society was in full effect. I think old man Barrosos was giving Rolly the business. But at the same time, when Rolly fought Tank, Rolly was handling Tank Davis until Rolly took it to the stupid and lunged in with his hands down, and Tank gave him something to think about. But I'm just not understanding this thing about Tank Davis. And he has duck sauce on the fried rice. And the way they're marketing him is a way for him to duck fighters who will beat him. That's what fans are saying. They're navigating him a kind of way to avoid fighters who will beat him, but they're putting him in fights that helps him look spectacular because they're non-threatening opponents, and all the fans are buying in to the hoopla of Tank Davis being the face of boxing. To that, I gotta say that although I can understand where some fans are coming from, I got to kindly request, in the most respectful way, that you hold your horses and stop taking to the stupid. Let me tell you something, man. When you look at 135, I don't see anyone here who beat Tank Davis. Simple. Frank Martin makes it interesting. Frank Martin, according to him, he beat Tank's ass in sparring. So you just don't know what's true and what's not. But I think Frank Martin's a good fight. I would like to see it like you all. Shakir Stevenson, I think, is a good fight. I would like to see it like you all. Lomachenko, even though Lomachenko's old, I would still like to see that like you all. Zepeda, Camposos Jr., hey, those are fights I like to see. But the real deal, and what the fans are demanding, is for Tank Davis, since he went up and fought, what's his name, man? Barrios at 140. They're like, hey, we'll go up and fight Teofimo at 140. Go up and fight Haney at 140. Go fight Hitchens at 140. You know what I mean? Go fight Catterall. Go fight these guys at 140, man. Prograde. You go fight those guys at 140. But you talking about you the face of boxing, but you won't go up and fight these guys at 140. You fought Barrios, didn't you? But there was a rehydration clause in there. You fought and you beat Ryan Garcia, but there was a rehydration clause in there. You fought Hector Garcia, brought a small man up. You fought Pedraza. He was there was something about Pedraza in that fight as well. So my thing is, they really are saying that Tank Davis and his team are clearly navigating his career a kind of way to handicap opponents, which in turn makes him look like a monster that he is not. Now remember, this isn't my opinion. This isn't what I feel. I feel Tank Davis beats everybody. I really do. Okay? Now, what I will say is, I would like to see Tank go ahead and, become undisputed at 135, but the titles, they're not a priority to him. They're not a priority to their team. Okay? And that's what people, I think, they don't want to accept. And they're frustrated because a lot of the fans are feeling the way Tank was feeling a few years ago. Remember when Tank was coming out here and saying stuff about Mayweather and how Mayweather wants to steal the light from the fighter. He wants to have his exhibition dates close to the fighter's fight date, etc., right? And then Floyd and Leonard Ellaby had to converge on Tank. Because Tank was out here wanting to fight everybody at a time, wasn't he? He was. But they got a hold of him. And they were like, trust the process. Because they don't want him to take damage, and they don't want him to come out here and make it hard for himself. They want to show him an easy path to financial freedom. And they've got it figured out. They've got it down to a science. And they're doing that with Tank Davis. And people are frustrated. But I think what happened is Tank Davis sat back and he sees kind of what they were talking about. And Tank's like, shit, if I don't have to come out here and fight a killer like Subriel Matias at 140 and I could come in here and make that money plus or more than that, fighting a guy who's a tenth of the threat that a guy like Matias is, a guy who's a tenth of the threat than Teofimo Lopez, a tenth of the threat than Devin Haney. And that's what they're going to do. There's a lot of people out there for Tank to fight. It's names that we're not going to like, but that's what they're doing. So essentially, fans are saying, well, hey, he's putting duck sauce on the fried rice because he's ducking real threats. And as a result, he shouldn't be the face of boxing. That's not even a conversation. I personally think Canelo's the face of boxing, and it's going to take a whole lot for somebody to supplant Canelo Alvarez as the face of boxing. But I do think if Tank were to fight these guys, I think he beats them. I do. It's something about how Tank gets the left hand off. Something how he gets the hook off. It's his IQ, his foot movement. It's everything he does, the angles, getting in, getting out. His ability to bait you in. It's like a fishing expedition in there. Who can I bait in? Who can I hook? Oh, got one. Got me a snapper. About to fillet his ass. And that's what Tank Davis does, man. So I think a lot of fans are frustrated, but I think they do feel, if they're being real, that Tank could probably clip all these guys. I think Tank can become undisputed at 135. He just don't want to deal with the BS. And belts and sanction fees. At 140, I don't know, he kind of short, but he has long arms. I think he can do it. Tank's used to fighting guys who are taller than him with longer reach. He's so fast and explosive, he can close the gap really quick and make you pay. So we'll see what he does. He's supposed to be fighting Pitbull Cruz as the first fight. The PBC Amazon deal. Some fans are frustrated about that fight, but I'm gonna tell you, man, Pitbull Cruz has been active. He's been pretty busy, and he's been getting some good wins. But I do think Pitbull Cruz is gonna find himself chasing Gervonta around the ring, and Gervonta, now that he has both hands, he may set him up, set a trap and hit him with something that Pitbull Cruz is not going to like. But if Gervonta gets cute playing around on the ropes, he could get banged up. Doesn't mean I think he loses, but he got hit last time. But I just think this time, with Gervonta Davis with two hands, I just think the fight's gonna be pretty one-sided. People are talking about Gervonta Davis's inactivity. Well, I mean, look, Pitbull Cruz has been active, but he hasn't been, that active. to where him coming into the ring and had just fought, 3-4 months ago. I don't think that's the case here. So we will see how things materialize for 2024. But I'm going to tell you right now, and you don't have to like it, the reality of the situation is Tank and his team, they got it down to a science. Their whole thing is fight to make money, take the least amount of damage. They're not worried about belts. They're not worried about any of that. Maybe Tank down the road will worry about legacy, but right now, fans are like, he has no legacy. This is horrible. He's in his prime. He's wasting his prime. But he's getting richer and richer every fight. So let me ask you, right? I'm 48. So I see it a little different. And I'm going to compare it to to me early in my career, right? I remember being about 6 years in and had to study for a promotion test. And I was with this crew of guys who were pretty negative. Now, if you get promoted, you get more money, right? You get a pay increase. A little more responsibility, but you get a pay increase. And I was around a group of guys who were like, man, why go out there and get promoted? You got to score so high, it's damn near impossible. Plus, we kind of, they could pull you out of your position, the job that you like, et cetera, et cetera. And I kind of bought into that a little bit, right? But what happened is I saw people going out here, getting promoted and getting paid. And now they got promoted. They're making more money than me. And I didn't like that because I was like, I knew I was smarter than them. So I'm way brighter than these cats. These cats are dumb as a box of rocks. But they took time to go out here and put themselves in position to make more money. And as a result, there were certain things that they could do financially I couldn't do. And I said, you know what, man, never again. And after that, every opportunity I had to study and get promoted, to put myself in a better financial space, I did. I wasn't worried about being comfortable, about job, about positions, about titles, all that stuff that people worried about. I didn't care. I was about the money. And on a focus on that, everything worked out very well. I have some friends right now who refuse to chase promotion, who refuse to try to improve themselves financially because they were comfortable in a certain position that they felt, that was prestigious. It looked good on paper. But at the end of the day, it wasn't doing nothing for their bank accounts. And we've all retired now, and they regret it to this day. But at the time, when they were younger, they were more about the prestige and look what I have, look at my position, look at me. Where the other ones who didn't necessarily have those positions and wasn't really getting praised like that, we were out here getting promoted, so we didn't care because you're looking good in your position. All that is nice, everybody praising you, but we got more money. And when I look at Tank Davis, I could totally understand, and I agree. If you can sit there and get to the top, right, and make all the money, 10 times more than these guys with belts, what you worried about that prestige of having a belt when you're making more money anyway without the belt? Forget about the position. Forget about the title. Get the dough. That's how I feel. But there was a time when I was younger where I was more, guy who's all about, boots on grounds and grinding it out, you know what I'm saying? And just having people laud you and praise you for just, being a go-getter and a hard worker. But once you figure this shit out, it's about being smart, working smarter, not harder. I've heard that all my life. You hear it a lot now when athletes are talking, but I think Tank's just working smarter, not harder. But at the same time, as a boxing fan, I like to see him get in there and get into some fights with some of these bigger names. And maybe they'll come in 2024, but as long as he has Mayweather and Ellaby there, they're not going to sit there and go that route. He's going to keep robbing the bank, making his money. And, the bottom line is, when he gets in the ring, it's exciting to watch. Doesn't matter what you think about his opponents. It's exciting to watch. And Hector Garcia can fight. Rolly can fight. Okay? You know, Barrios can fight. Leo Santa Cruz could fight. You know, these guys could fight, man. Pedraza could fight. But I do think if he goes and he fights Teofimo and he beats Teofimo, I don't think people are going to give him that much credit. If he beats Haney, I still don't think people give Tank that much credit. They're going to be looking for someone else for him to fight. You know what I'm saying? Then the conversation shifts to, well, they say he hits like a heavyweight, so he needs to go up there and fight Deontay Wilder. Like that's like y'all want this man to lose. Anyway, y'all keep cool. Shout out to the veterans, 7 continents. Is Gervonta Davis putting duck sauce on the fried rice? Or is he just out here working smart and doing what all these other fighters wish they could do and should do? That's the question. In the breeze.